as you can see, I have the Versamark watermark stamp pad that we sell. I've got some real red. I have some ink refills. And we actually sell a Versamark refill. And this is, it's getting kind of close. But you refill it just like you would any other stamp pad. You just kind of squish it in there, move it around. It has a nice spongy and then I always like to take an old and kind of smooth it out. You can see that it's pink from all the red that I've been doing. And then I just wipe that off. And I don't know if I'll do my red or not. Should I do my red? Sure, why not? Y'all got nothing else to do. Hi Maria, I'm looking on the floor at my iPad and I see you're here. Great. I'm going to be working with our Versamark today. I don't want to overdo this red here. I just want to have enough so I don't have to keep daubing my stamp back and forth. And then I'll take that and I'll move that around. Try to even that out a little there so it's not all bunched up. That should make this go a little bit faster. I have found that a well-inked ink pad makes easy work, makes light work. Kind of like Mini Hands makes light work or whatever. A well-inked ink pen. Not well like as in over-inked well, but well as in you don't have to dab your ink pad a dozen times like I have done in the past. Okay, so remember this card that we did on Thursday? Be careful because I've got ink on my fingers from stamping earlier. We just basically stamped these with our bell stamp right over here. Which, let me get this in camera. Okay, well this looks fine, but it can actually look better. So, oh, I also wanted to tell you, if you have that extra, if you want to make this card but you don't have the white embossing powder, you can always switch that out for the die cut, and it looks just as cute once you get that red wonderful gem in there. Okay, so this can look better, and so I've got a 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of this. I keep wanting to say Whisper White. I still haven't. Basic white, and I'm going to use some. Still not quite in camera the way I want to be. I'm going to use some removable Scotch tape, which I buy it at Office Depot. I get the reels and then use the dispenser. Makes it real easy to pull it out, and you can reuse this. All right, and then when I have my bell stamp from Frosted Gingerbread, I'm going to use my bell. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do Versamark. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this. Let me make sure that's not going to stamp on that tape. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to use Versamark. Whoops, actually no. No, we're not. Dang it, dang it, dang it. I'm so excited to show you. I'm in a hurry. All right, the first thing we're going to do is stamp our image. Duh. It's Monday, what can I say? I use that excuse a lot, don't I? Okay, so red ink, real red ink. And it should be nice and inky. Hopefully not too inky. Let me move that out of the way. Press it down so the ink touches all of the surface. Gently pull it up because you know how these stamps like to move. That's why I use the tape, because when you're using the deluxe foam mat, it's very hard to, it's so thick that the magnets, even as strong as they are, don't have as much pull. So I use the tape, especially when I'm using photopolymer. And I can tell there's something on my stamp right there because it isn't doing its job. Let me see if that makes it better. Oh yeah. There was just a little dot there that wasn't getting any ink. Okay, now, before we, well, actually, to do the Versamark, we don't really need to use our powder. We only use our powder or our embossing buddy when we're going to use the embossing powder, which we will in just a minute. But right now we're just going to use the Versamark. So I've stamped it, cleaned my stamp. You want to be sure to clean your stamp or you might end up with that, and you might still end up with that with the red ink. And I don't know if that's going to transfer when I go to do a different color. Now this is just the Versamark, okay? I'm just going to do another because I can. All right, so I will pull that up. Now I'm going to remove this, try to save my tape for later. I'm going to bring in this, make sure my powder's out of range because do not want that to put any heat on my, so I've got it on, this comes with a low, a number 1, and a number 2. I want my number 2. I'm just gonna get it hot. When it gets hot, you can't put it on your hands without it burning too much. You're just gonna dry this. And you can see it changing colors, just barely. But, and you don't want to dry it too much. But you can see it changing colors. That's all it takes. Now, here's the thing. I think I'll go ahead and die cut that for you. Let me get my die cut machine set up to die cut. Because I was doing something else this morning. Alright, so let me make room here for my die cut machine. Big. I could have used a smaller piece of paper, and then I could use my baby, my mini, but I didn't. Okay, so let me get my bell die. I love these. I love this set. It's so fun. I have to laugh at myself because when I first saw it, I wasn't that impressed with it. Honestly, I wasn't. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. But now I'm loving it. So I'm going to tape that down with that same tape that I use because I want to be frugal and environmentally friendly. Okay, so I'm going to run that through, and I'm probably not on camera. let me move that over. Okay, so remember this is just the Versamark and the ink, nothing else. Okay. If you guys could see the rest of my craft room, you'd see why I'm struggling finding room for everything. Okay. I didn't die cut that perfectly straight, but you'll get the idea. All right, so I'm going to put this up next to the one that I just stamped, and I'm hoping, let me make sure, I'm hoping you can see the difference. Maybe if I bring the light in. All right, what you're going to see is this one, the color is even and brighter. Okay, this color is good, but it's kind of not, it's not as even as this, and it's kind of more on the mute side. So you can do that if you want to just make something stand out, or you can do what we're going to do next, which is bring this back in. This time we're going to use the embossing powder, and you'll really see a difference this time. Get my cardstock ready. Goodbye to the tape for now. Okay, so this time I'm going to put my paper this way in the corner. I'm going to tape it down. So ink first. Make sure I've got as much of that. Now when I'm completely done with my stamping for the day, I will wash this with a mild dish soap and water, and then just let it air dry, because you don't want to wipe it dry because you might get fuzz on it. Okay, so back to our real red ink. Make sure it, pull it up gently. I like it really, really rich. With the red too, the paper just kind of seems to absorb it. So you have to use a little bit more, seems like. Hi Catherine, I see you're here. Great. All right, so I'm going to leave this in place. Clean off the ink, like I said, unless you want a red, a really, really red Versamark pad. And I don't know if I'm going to have to, I might have to buy another one just use this one for red and purples and blues. I don't know. They're not that expensive. They really aren't. Okay, so before I use the Versamark this time, I'm going to, because I'm using the embossing powder, I only want the embossing powder to stick where the ink is. And so I'm going to do this along, and I'm going to do the image too, because you see where the white is? I don't want any of that embossing powder to stick where the white is in the image either. And I can use Embossing Buddy, and this is the EK Success powder tool, I think. Powder brush, powder tool, something like that. All right, now I'm going to use the Versamark again. But this time I'm going to use it kind of as a adhesive glue type thing to make my clear embossing powder stick. Okay, so here we go. Gently pull it up, and I might have enough on there, but again, I want to make sure, so that's why I have my Stamparatus, so I don't have to guess. All right, so now it's stamped, it's got its Versamark on, it's ready for the powder, the clear powder, embossing powder. Put my tape over there. I like to put this here and just shut that there for now. Keep that moist and from sticking to everything. Now I just have a piece of white cardstock. I folded it in half. I think it's like 5.5 by 4 1/4. Not even 4 1/4. Okay, but it's just it's big enough, but it is also manageable. So I'm going to put that there. Get my clear embossing powder, and I'm just going to cover that. I'm really going to town there because I don't want to miss anything. And that's probably too much. You don't need to use that much. And then you can just tap to get the excess in there. Now you're going to get some overspill, but we'll deal with that in just a minute. Okay, so I can tap that, and I can also blow. All right, so I hopefully got all the excess away from the image. Again, I'm going to get this, turn it on, make sure that it's heavy, hot, hot and heavy. Okay, so when it feels hot like that, you're just going to kind of put it at an angle, start at one end, and you're going to watch the magic here as it starts to turn. And again, as soon as it turns, you want to move on. You don't want to overheat it, because then it does funny things that you don't like. Okay. Now, hopefully you can see there is a shine there. I'm going to move it around, and doesn't look like you're seeing it. Can you see it as shiny? I'm looking at my image on my... Anyway, it's shiny there. Hopefully you can see the shine. But anyway, it's really pretty and shiny. It's almost like an epoxy look, or a shellac look. Okay, and so I am not going to die cut this, but I am going to put it up against these, and you can see, you can really see a difference in those two. Let me move it in camera. You can see that this one is darker and it's shinier, and it just adds a little pop to it if you wanted to do that instead of just stamping. Okay, so that is the Versamark ink pad, water stamp pad, and the clear powder, which is sold in a set of 3 in the catalog, the annual catalog. Just look for embossing powder. This comes with clear, white, and black. We will be using these in our Halloween class kit. So it'll be an option. You don't have to, but it'll actually, your images will look so much better. Okay, so now we need to clean this off. So what I did is, once I finished cleaning off my stamp as much as I could, this is like damp dry now, or you could just use a a dry tissue to take all the loose loose stuff off, excuse me. And then there's still going to be some fine stuff there. Hold on. I keep this handy, and it's just one of those lint rollers. You have them around for pet hair or whatever, fuzz on your sweaters and stuff. And that takes up anything that's left. It takes it up. So it's not quite so messy to work with. You can also use that same trick, and then I just use this to reuse again and again. Okay, I do want to show you something I figured out this morning. I guess it's going to be your reward for sticking with me. You know, when I use my glue, I have to keep it, it's best to keep it standing straight up so that when you're getting ready to use it, it's ready to come out. You don't have to keep doing this. And I've seen people make things to keep their glue in. You know, they've done all kinds of funky little things they've made. But today I realized that any of our ribbon holders, you can see that it has the bigger hole, not a big hole. I think that's the normal size hole, I think. But look, instant glue holder. So you could take an empty ribbon holder. You could put some paper on top of it if you wanted to decorate it and make it pretty. And you could punch a hole in it. That's probably like a 3/4 inch hole right there. Maybe 7/8 inch. Anyway, 3/4 inch. And you have yourself a glue holder. Is that not cool? I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. It's so simple. And you don't have to make anything, and you don't have to buy anything, because some people sell those. You just set it at the side of your desk, and there you go. All right, so thanks for joining me. All right, thanks for joining me for my More About It Monday. I'll see you tomorrow for Take Your Pick Tuesday.